Hello, my name is Irene Tansman, and I'm the author of Abie and Arlene's Autism War. If you live in Massachusetts and your loved one is enrolled in a rehabilitation facility, or you are considering rehabilitation for your loved one with autism and/or intellectual disability, please consider joining the Rehabilitation Families in Massachusetts Facebook group. Today, I'd like to talk to you about autism and/or other developmental disabilities and compliance. I am not a BCBA or a special educator, but I've witnessed how the emphasis on teaching compliance plays out over many years. Psychologist O. Eval Lovas's experiments in the 1960s and 1970s, and especially his 1987 study, proved that by using behavior modification techniques, children with autism were educable. Before Lovas discovered that children with autism were educable, treatment for children with autism included removing them from their mothers and treating them with psychotherapy, according to the now debunked poor mothering theories promoted by the discredited charlatan Bruno Bettelheim. Another common treatment was placing these individuals in warehousing situations where they were denied education and where they were treated in an extremely inhumane way. While at the time, Lovas's treatments were humane when contrasted with other treatments of the day, elements of Lovas's experiments might turn our stomachs today. His experiments included cruel punishments and a host of other things that we might label today as inhumane. His intervention, while groundbreaking, was at best a blunt instrument. As time went on, the science of applied behavior analysis grew more sophisticated and humane as we discovered new and better ways of teaching those with autism and other developmental disabilities. Unfortunately, as our knowledge increased, not everyone changed with the times, which brings me back to the original topic, compliance. Years ago, behavioral programs placed a huge emphasis on compliance because we didn't know any better at the time. Those who followed Lovas and his teachings focused their treatments on obtaining compliance, not on increasing the learner's communication skills. Even today, it's difficult to find a behaviorist who emphasizes communication, but at least some do exist. Unfortunately, many behaviorists still emphasize compliance. These folks are stuck in the 1970s and 1980s and need to update their thinking. Some behavioral professionals believed back then, and some believe even now, that learners are easier to teach if they comply. But I don't agree. And I don't think you want your loved one to be totally compliant, and I'll tell you why. Aside from all the obvious, which would be, I don't want him to comply with somebody who's abusing him. If your loved one thinks he must do what you or the teacher or the caretaker asks him to do in all situations, he has no reason to communicate his wants and needs. Why would he make the effort to communicate his needs and wants when he must do what you want him to do, regardless of what he wants anyway? The number one essential skill, according to Patrick McGreevy's Essential for Living curriculum, is making requests. It isn't compliance. So I ask again, why would your loved one communicate his wants and needs if he must do what you tell him to do, regardless of what he wants? Understand that if a learner does not communicate his wants or needs, he is at high risk for developing severe maladaptive behavior, such as aggression and self-injury. The idea that communication deficits puts a learner at risk for maladaptive behavior is widely accepted by top behaviorists. So I would beg to differ at the idea that learners who are taught to comply are easier to teach. If they develop maladaptive behavior because of communication deficits, they will be among the most difficult to teach. Now, in certain safety situations, we do want compliance. We want our loved ones to comply with taking life-saving medications. We want them to listen to us when we say, stop, don't jump in front of that moving truck. However, teaching our loved ones to generally comply with everything we ask is not what we want. I'd like to give you an example. Catherine Maurice's book, Let Me Hear Your Voice, A Family's Triumph Over Autism, popularized applied behavior analysis, or ABA. This book was published in 1993. This was a landmark book which really helped move ABA into the mainstream. However, it contained the old ideas about coercion and compliance in there. In the book, there's a scene where the therapist drags the kid kicking and screaming to the table, and she forces the kid to sit at the table and comply. My son is still traumatized from being forced to sit at a table in a little jail-like corner where he couldn't get up. Despite my advocacy efforts against this, more than one professional did this to him. Today, he has trouble pushing in his chair when he eats his meals. He wants to place his chair very far from the table, and that makes for some very messy eating. I believe he connects pushing in that chair with that previous trauma. So I want to tell my viewers that forcing a learner into compliance using coercion to sit at a table is unnecessary and counterproductive. If you do that, the learner will connect the idea of sitting and learning at a table with having a negative experience. Or they might. Maybe some will eventually decide that it isn't so bad. But there's a risk there. You want your learner to connect sitting and learning with fun and joy. That way they'll keep on coming back for more. So how do you do this? One way is to have all the fun at the table or the desk where the learner is learning. All the stimmers he likes, the snacks he likes, a device with Disney Plus on it, YouTube, whatever it is he wants, whatever it is he likes. Let your learner connect sitting and learning with fun. But what if this doesn't work? What if he doesn't want to sit at the table at the particular time? Well, that's the signal that it's time for the learner to communicate that he wants to leave the table. Instead of forcing the learner to sit at the table, teach him to communicate that he doesn't want to sit at the table. Choose the opportunity to teach communication over the opportunity to teach compliance. My son and I will demonstrate how this works in the following clip, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, Isaac, come over here.
Yeah! Yeah!
Sit down, right over here. If you would like to leave, you just press "May I be excused."
Yeah!
Cracker.
You want a cracker? Okay.
Yeah! Yeah!
No.
Bang!
If you want to leave, you press "May I be excused."
May I be excused?
Yeah!
Yes, you
Yeah! Yeah!
may. Okay, Isaac, come over here.
Bang! Yeah!
May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Okay, Isaac, come over here.
Bang! Yeah!
Hey, sir, YouTube.
You want to watch YouTubes?
May I be excused?
Yes, you may be excused.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
This this time I'm going to make it a little harder. I'm going to switch communication boards, so he's going to have to really look for it. I put it 2 communication boards ahead. So he's going to have to look. Izzy! Izzy, come over here. I want you to sit with me.
Cracker.
Is that what you want, a cracker? That's what you want, cracker? Okay.
May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Okay, so now I'm going to make it very difficult for Isaac. It's going to be 4 boards away. I have to find, may I be excused. Sit down with me. Yes.
May I be excused?
Yes, you may. A behavioral program which emphasizes communication is far superior to one that emphasizes compliance. If you have a choice, choose the program that puts the emphasis on communication, not compliance. If you don't have a choice, do the best you can to advocate for goals and objectives based on the essential 8 skills listed in Patrick McGreevy's Essential for Living curriculum. And keep in mind that the #1 essential skill is making requests, not compliance. I will place a link to information on the Essential for Living assessment and curriculum in the description below this video. You will see this description only if you view the video on YouTube. I have no financial relationship with Dr. Patrick McGreevy, and this is not a paid advertisement for the Essential for Living assessment and curriculum. I am endorsing the EFL because I believe that's the way to go. I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.